guys, I'm Matt Brown with Accurate Perspective. These are my co-hosts, Lindsay and Mark. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I should say Mark is a guest host today. Dave, who typically joins us, is in the process of moving, and he's having fun. As if you've ever sold a house in your life, you know how fun that is. It's not fun at all. When the process is done, you're very thankful. So anyway, so Mark, he jumped in. He's the owners of Mak Daddies Coffee Roasters, sponsor of the show. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, you already had a podcast microphone. Look at you. You're like ready to roll, man.
It's actually, I got to work too. So, I mean, it's a lucky day.
So today, guys, next week, ballots drop. Can you believe that? We've been talking since filing day was when this podcast actually first dropped to the public. And we're now at the point of where ballots are going to be hitting people's mailboxes come probably Tuesday or Wednesday next week. And I thought it would be kind of fun to do a voter's guide breakdown of all the different races and kind of see what they say about themselves. Not us, but just let's see what they have to say. So we're going to start with the Congress races. I'm going to make sure I got this all set up right. Hit share. And if you guys are listening on the audio podcast, we're going to make sure we articulate everything well for you because you're not going to see what we're showing. But sharing the screen. We'll start with the federal candidates, and we're going to move to the Congress since it applies to us. We'll start with Corey Gibson. Lindsay, why don't you start us off with him?
Alrighty. So let's see. Are we going to read the whole thing? Are we? Okay. So Corey started marketing at 27. He's 44. He has an extensive experience working with foreign governments, networks, studios, global brands, NGOs, and agriculture companies, if I can read. It's very small on my screen. Graduated from SELA, 97, studied political science and foreign affairs at Bellevue College. He won a National Humanitarian Award for community service at age 17 in his 20s. He's become a creative director and host of Walt Disney Company. Interesting. Largest employee charity event. Today, Corey sits on the board of a foster agency for high-risk children. And this is his statement. He says, "I believe it is the duty of every patriotic American to decide what their role will be in our fight to save this great nation. We've learned that a weak Republican is more dangerous than a Democrat, giving us false hope while our individual liberties are slowly stripped away. We can no longer elect our leaders based on good intentions alone. I am a strong conservative with a plan for how I will be an effective America First Republican in Congress. Instead of telling you what I will do, I can tell you what I am doing. Uniting America First candidates from across the country and creating a coalition ready to fight the swamp on both sides. Our party is changing, and I believe I represent the future of the Republican Party, patriotic, innovative, and ready to put America first again. I founded the America First Pact, a national alliance of conservative candidates who will fight the swamp together once elected, dedicated to, among other things, enacting term limits, eliminating the Department of Education, securing our border, energy independence, removal of CRT from all government institutions, supporting law enforcement, and impeaching Biden."
Well, and it's interesting. So this is his first campaign for elected office. So he has no elected experience. It's his first time running through this. I guess you got to start somewhere. And I'm surprised you started running for Congress, but you got to start somewhere, I guess, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do the next one every time we restart on here. Lauren Culp. Well, you guys probably know Lauren. He ran most recently in 2020 for governor. Was the Republican nominee to go against Jay Inslee. Ended up losing, but there was a couple things that he did do. He had 1.7 million people vote for him, which was apparently, I didn't realize this, but apparently it's the largest vote total for any Republican.
Wow.
States you. And he still lost, which is kind of sad at the same time. You get that many votes, you feel like you win. But his elected experience, he put Republican PCO as 2 terms. Everybody can see this, right? Okay. He's a veteran of the U.S. Army, 101st Airborne Division, small business owner for 20 years. He's been a detective, sergeant, and chief of police, which is interesting because a lot of people always say he's a sheriff or was a sheriff. He's not a sheriff. He's a chief of police. So interesting change. Number 1 bestseller, author, 2020. We already said that for governor. And also what's actually kind of interesting is this information is actually in the voter's guide. Not to throw Lauren under the bus or anything, but in 2020, he did not have this information, voter guide. So it's kind of a big deal that he got it in there. Community service. Let's go to education. He, again, U.S. Army Advanced Individual Training, Combat Engineer, Honor Graduate, U.S. Army Drill Sergeant School, bunch more military stuff, Central Texas College, Washington State Peace Officers Academy, and dual purpose K9 handler. That's actually kind of crazy to Lauren when he was in, his dream was to be the chief of police and then be a K9 officer. As a dream, as a kid. He's living his dream. Let's see. Community service, Gun Owners of America, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Police Chief of the Decade. Interesting. Awarded key to the City of Republic for outstanding law and drug enforcement. I think the big piece, so we're not going to read the entire statements of all of these candidates because they're very long, but the key piece is that Lauren Culp is the only candidate endorsed by President Trump, and President Trump is the undisputed people's champion. That's interesting statement to make, but he made it.
Right.
So I would go check him out. This race has been a hard one to figure out who you're voting for because there's so many options. So we're going to go back to the next one. Brad Clippert.
Yeah.
All right. Mark, you want to take this one away?
Yeah, you bet. Brad. Elected to and served in the House of Representatives 7 terms. That's for 14 years. Passing many bills, receiving many awards, including Legislature of the Year, and serving Republican leadership. So he's ex-military as well. He's been 34 years. Has a master's degree in teaching, BA in behavioral science, nationally certified paramedic, EMT. He's got a whole list of degrees behind his name there. And for community service, he got school resource officer for KB and Findlay School Districts, hands-on service with Habitat for Humanity and Second Harvest. And I actually got to meet Brad a couple of times, and he's a real nice guy. And I don't think he's let his service in the Congress go to his head yet, which is kind of exciting.
If you look at 7 terms, 14 years, that's a long time to be there. And this last year, he won the Legislator of the Year, and a Democrat. He's a Republican. Legislator of the Year award for passing the most bills in Olympia, and he's a Republican.
Yeah,
Brad knows how to get stuff done.
Especially when you're in a House legislative body full of the opposing parties. So that's really something else to say.
Right, it's pretty impressive. All right, we're gonna move on. Let's see. So this guy's name I will always screw up, so I'm not even gonna try. But he's the newbie on the block. He just jumped in. I'm going to try it. Jacek Kobiesha. Something like that. He's ever statements here, but so we'll go through it. Elected experience. I'm not the typical politician. I will help all people. All right. Professional experience. He is a staunch opponent of communism and socialism. However, I will support capitalism and freedoms with all my being. Political systems can change, but America was and it is truly the greatest country in the world. Let's don't let freedom slip away. Let's see. Graduated from Washington State University, degree in mechanical engineering. Helps. He's got a lot of different things in the energy, power generation, renewable energy stuff. I actually talked to him a little bit about it at a debate. He's got like different patents and things to his name. He's a super smart guy. Again, though, he jumped into the mix at filing. No one knew who he was. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. When I asked him, why the heck would you jump into this race right now when there's so many? And he said, man, I was just looking to stir up trouble.
Well, there you go.
So, it's pretty funny. Let's see. Lindsay, I'm going to give you Doug White.
Alrighty. Doug White, I believe he's the only Democrat. Is that right?
Yep.
He's leadership experience in 16. Let's see, he has a family farm, Yakima business owner, some database, medical treatment, operations manager in Saudi Arabia.
Interesting.
Global project manager, digital marketing agency in Hong Kong, extensive China experience. It's always like, okay. He's got a BA from Western, MA from San Jose. He's an MIT mentor, digital marketing youth symphony. These are community service things he's done, global supporting event. And then it's his statement. So
yeah, and it's a wordy one. So
it looks pretty wordy.
If you guys want to read all these statements, just, we'll have a link in the show notes to where the voter guide is, or you might have got one in the mail like me, and you can read it all in here, or like Mark, Mark's muted right now though, or I can't hear you, Mark, for some reason.
There, how's that? Is that better?
There you go.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna say I'm old school. Okay, so
yeah, no worries.
All right.
Doug, it's actually interesting. I met Doug. I've met all these candidates, and I've worked with them a lot in the last probably 2 months. And while Doug and I probably disagree on a lot of different things politically, he's a very nice man, and it'll be interesting to see how he does. I told him I wish him the best of luck. So,
on the corner of 40th and Summit View-ish, somewhere around there, I drive home from work, and you see all the Congress signs that are all red, white, and blue. And there's one green one, and it's Doug White's.
Doug's,
so
yeah.
It's Doug's. So it's kind of funny that the only Democrat doesn't have the American colors. It's just an observation.
Maybe it sticks out more.
Maybe that, yeah. With the grass, you want it to blend in with the scenery. Okay.
So the next one is Benny Garcia III. Mark, why don't you do this guy?
Yeah, sure. It looks like he's got Washington State Chapter Republican National Hispanic Assembly State Chairman experience, Ebony Senate Representative at Yakima Valley Community College, and Yakima County Veterans Coalition Program Board Member. He's done that for 2 terms. And it looks like he's a retired combat vet. Looks at Operation Iraq Freedom 2 with the U.S. Army. 10 years with the United States Department of Agriculture, and completed 1,000 GRH home loans. So it looks like he's from Sunnyside, and don't see a whole lot of previous elected experience, statewide or national wide. But this is one candidate I have not met yet. So what I know about him is right here in the voter's guide.
Yeah. Ben is a good dude. I've talked to him a bunch. If you've met him, he will talk your ear off. He's a good dude. So I always tell Ben, You could sell paint off the wall. That's how good you talk, man. So, all right, I'm going to move on to the last two, which is Jared Sessler. So, what's interesting about Jared is he's kind of relatively an unknown, but before now, but then not really, just relatively unknown within politics. But I was going to say, I've been driving town lately, and I feel like Jared is owning the sign game. I've been very impressed with the sign game. I'm driving around going, holy crap, there's another sign. There's another Sessler sign over there. So whoever is doing your signs, Jared, they're killing it. So Jared is an entrepreneur. He's a private citizen, a family man. He's lobbied on behalf of small businesses. He believes in traditional family values, American liberty. And he's been to DC dozens of times, starting in 2004. I don't know why that matters, but he's been there. The candidate has been a Republican precinct committee officer. He's a successful business owner and with hundreds of employees. So U.S. Army, Navy vet. Sorry, gosh, Navy guys are probably screaming right now. Just call them an Army. So sorry. And former NASCAR driver. That's why I said what's interesting is he actually was a NASCAR driver. So he's been in different things, just not in politics. So Jared, as he's been going through this, he's been owning the sign game and been just about everywhere that I can find him. So,
and that happened overnight too. I mean, it was just like boom. There was like signs everywhere. So
it did.
Yeah,
I was shocked. And then last but not least is Dan Newhouse, who is the incumbent. We're not going to spend a ton of time on Dan because Dan, and it's interesting as I think a lot of the guys that are running right now are really just running. A lot of them are running because of what Dan did in voting to impeach President Trump. A lot of these guys, they jump race because of that. So it's interesting to see what the primary will kind of unfold for this race, because I don't know if Dan's got the support that he thinks he does, but we're going to find out real quickly on August 2nd. So we're going to move on. Now that we're out of the federal races, because there's a lot, I'm not going to do statewide. We're going to jump into county. We're going to keep it local. I'm going to jump to Jacob Tate. Lindsay, why don't you talk about Jacob?
Alrighty, Jacob Tate. He is running for... you're off the top. Was he? Okay, he's the assessor.
Yep, the assessor.
Yep, he has 25 years working for Yakima County. He's got formal education in nuclear power, radiological controls, water chemistry control with the Navy. I said it right. Studying appraisal, programming, systems design, database design, management principles, math with statistical modeling. Sounds like he's got a lot of education there. Community service. He's a board member for New Year Leaders in Yakima County. And it looks like he's from Yakima.
Yeah, and he's the only one running for assessor, so it's pretty easy. But I wanted to show you guys this is what he looks like. So hey, you get to see a face. Sometimes when you're voting for a name, you have no idea who they are. So
he's got a good shot at winning, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, he's got a real good shot there. We'll jump to auditor, and this is again the incumbent. So this is Charles Ross. Nothing to do with Charles. He's not running against anybody, but here's his mug. So if you're trying to find who runs the auditor's office around here, this is Charles. He's another Navy guy. Man, there's a lot of Navy guys here in Yakima. Mm-hmm. He's been the auditor since 2014. So, and he was a Washington State representative from 2006 to 2014. So this guy's got like 20-something years of, even more longer than that. Gosh, he was the councilman and mayor of Natchez from 97. So, man, he's got 25 years of political chops here. So, Charles Ross. All right, moving on. Now this is the race that gets interesting. Mark, we're going to start with clerk, and we're going to start with Misha. I'm going to have you talk about it.
Yeah, this should be interesting. So yeah, Misha, the current senior accountant for Yakima County Clerk, real estate broker with professional realty services, local small business owner, 20 years of management and accounting experience, and currently manages the clerk's office budget and has been an auditing officer for the office. So it looks like she has a little hands-on experience there, being in the second command there. And looks like she's got a bunch of credentials for her degree of arts and science, resolution management, action program training, budget and fiscal management through Institute of Court Management. So yeah, I mean, as you'll see the other candidates here, this is going to be a race to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we had Misha on at a previous show, and she had terrible internet connection. So again, we're sorry, Misha. It was like in and out and not very good. But here's Misha again for everybody. You know. Yeah. So let's see who her competitors are, though. So Lindsay, I'll have you do this one.
Alrighty, we've got Billy. Let's see, she's got over 25 years experience in the legal field with civil, real estate, elderly criminal law. She's been at the clerk's office for the past 4.5 years, working as an office specialist and in court clerk. She maintains the record of the courts, exhibits working directly with the court administration, the judicial officers, and the jury office. And she assists legal counsel. Works with other department heads and legal counsel. Has a legal assistant certificate, and that's what it looks like for Billy.
And she's from East Valley High School. Mm-hmm. So,
well, gotta like that.
You know, it's interesting. You have two folks that currently work in the clerk's office running. So, you know, trying to clean it up, I guess. And last one here is Deborah. And if I say this last name wrong, I'm sorry, Deborah. But I own one De La Torre in my life, so I'm going to say De La Torre. If it's wrong, sorry. But Deborah De La Torre, she is a Republican. So all three of these gals are Republicans, and she's got 30 years as a paralegal with the Yakima County Prosecuting Attorney's Office and Criminal District Court and Corporate Counsel Divisions. She is a Wapato High School graduate, and there's also information in here, but that she grew up in Wapato. And she's running. So, you know, if we want to, you know, dissect the sign game between the three of these, you know, I would say they're pretty much equal as what I've seen around town. But I will say that Billy's signs are probably the easiest ones to read. Mm-hmm. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. Mm-hmm. Let's move on to the coroner. And in this race, we have a two-sided Republican throwdown here between Marshall and James Curtis, the incumbent. So we'll start with Marshall. Lindsay.
Alrighty. He has no elected experience, is what has on here. He's worked as the chief deputy coroner for the last 13 years. Well, I guess that's experience. And he'll bring hands-on experience and knowledge with him when he's elected as the county coroner. He has worked closely with all funeral homes in the valley, as well as all local and state law enforcement. During this time, he's been involved in investigating over 200 homicides, 500 suicides, and hundreds of overdose deaths and car fatalities. There's no substitute for hands-on experience, he says. Yep.
You know, it's interesting because this is one of those positions as the coroner where you don't actually have to have, you know, it's one of those ones where you think you'd have to have some sort of education or experience or as like a requirement to be the coroner, but nope. So,
really?
Okay. Yeah. I which is, you know, I mean, Mark, if you ever want to run for coroner, man, you could do it. Coffee shop owner to coroner.
I don't know if I have the stomach for it. I don't know if I could do that.
Let's see. He was heavily involved with the Yakima Sun Kings. It's sad that we don't have the Sun Kings anymore. Mm-hmm. CWU rugby and church youth groups. Huh. Cool. All right. Oh my gosh, this website. Hey, county auditor. Charles, you need a better website, bro. This is your job. All right. Jim Curtis. I'll talk about Jim. Jim's the incumbent, and he has been the coroner since 2019, and I've talked to him a lot during COVID times because as we all know, COVID has been an interesting one in data. Right. And trying to understand what's true and what's not. And Jim has been one of those guys that has always given me honest answers without even having to dig. I haven't had to press. I haven't had to even ask for records. He's just given them straight to me on different things. So I've really appreciated his honesty and his approach to things, and his willingness to actually investigate things if you didn't know, which there are, during COVID, there was a lot of times where he just didn't know, but he got back to me. He was a paramedic since 2002. So he has some experience there with human bodies. So, as opposed to, I guess, any other bodies. I don't know what other bodies you have, but and American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigators since 2019. And his education is hundreds of hours of continuing medical and death investigator education. So Jim is the incumbent, and if he's the guy to keep going, that's what you got to do. Got to vote for him. There you go. All right, let's see. What do we got left here? Just a few things. Brusick, prosecuting attorney. He's not running against anybody. Lindsay, what do we know about him?
Alrighty. Well, he was elected to the position Yakima County prosecutor in 2014, took office in 2015, and was reelected to serve second term in 2018. Previous to being elected as Yakima County prosecutor, he worked as deputy prosecuting attorney in Yakima County and Kitsap County for 13 years. He also practiced personal injury, Social Security, and L&I law. He has an undergraduate degree in history from the University of Washington and has a Juris Doctor degree from the University of Puget Sound from '88. And that's it about that. He's our guy. No one else to vote for there. So,
yeah, it's funny. He graduated in 1988. That's when I was born.
Oh.
Fun times. Yeah, Brusick, there's no one running against him. I talked to a couple attorneys actually this week. I said, I'm surprised no one ran against him. And their words were, I think he'll have the office until he no longer wants to have the office. So I said, all right then. Let's go sheriff. Sheriff is another one that is just Sheriff Bob. Tell us. There's nothing in there.
No.
Put nothing in it. Yeah. I guess when you're the only guy, you don't have to put a whole lot, but that's what he looks like. So,
yeah. Okay.
If you're trying to figure out, and then versus the paper version, the paper, everything's in black and white. So at least you can see color on here, but not a whole lot. He's got a bachelor's from, the Cougs. So he's a Coug, and he's been the sheriff. He's a pretty simple man.
Yeah, he's a straight shooter and tells it like it is. So,
yeah.
All
right, Mark. Take Eileen here for treasurer.
Eileen for treasurer. She served 5 terms as Yakima County treasurer, so she's the incumbent. You see other service experience. She has a certified governmental investment professional, Yakima County assistant treasurer, Yakima County's treasurer county manager, Yakima County treasurer financial systems analysis, and works with Yakima Federal Savings and Loan. Has a BS in administration management science with a minor in computer science. Got lots of qualifications there, and looks like she prefers the Republican Party. So, and I don't know if there's anybody running against her. I don't see anything.
No one's running against her. I mean, it'd be kind of hard. This gal's been going as a treasurer since 1986. It looks like
20 years now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, as the county, but she's got a lot of experience in this world.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Next, again, this website, man. Let's see. County Commissioner, District 1. So I'm going to take this one since this is my district. And actually, I think it's Lindsay's district too. So this is Amanda McKinney. We had her on the show a little while ago, and she's running unopposed. At the time when she was on our show, we didn't know if she would have someone running against her. In position 1, it's interesting as all the county commissioners had to rerun this year because of settlement with One America. And her professional experience, she was a mortgage banker with Caliber Home Loans owner broker and with Viewmont Mortgage Loans. And she's been a county commissioner for the last 2 years in District 1. She's got a dual Bachelor of Science in pre-law, emphasis in criminal justice, and political science, emphasis in constitutional law, which is very interesting that she has a political science emphasis in constitutional law. So she knows her stuff. Licensed mortgage broker. We already talked about all that. Yeah. It's not a whole lot to talk about when you're not running against anybody, but that's what she looks like. So let's go to the race. District 2. This one gets a little interesting. We got 3 people in this one. So Kyle Curtis, Lindsay.
Alrighty. So we also had Kyle on the podcast. Got to meet him a couple weeks ago. He elected experience, Yakima County Planning Commission, elected vice chair. He's on the Yakima Homeless Coalition, City of Yakima Community Integration Committee. He's a chief financial officer for Ramsey Companies, a family business located in Wapato and White Swan. Ag Forestry Leadership Program alumni. He went to Harvard Business School, executive education, has a certificate in investing to build sustainable communities. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Finance. Went to University of Washington and is from Ike. And then community service, he's Yakima Downtown Rotary, New Leaders of Yakima County, Central Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Yakima County Development Association, and Yakima Pride. He is, I believe, the one who was responsible for painting the sidewalks. Is that right? Downtown?
Yeah, he's part of that group. Yep.
Okay. And that's it.
Yeah. He didn't put on here, also sits as the treasurer of the Republican Party locally. So I don't know why he didn't put that on there. Kyle, why didn't you put it on there? It's right there,
Kyle.
Come on. Let's see. Ooh, where am I going? All right. Tony Sandoval. Tony. Mark, you know Tony.
I was going to say, maybe I should recuse myself from this one since we ran against each other last year. But Tony's ran for, I think, about 3 or 4 races now. And
pretty much every race he can run for.
So he ran for city council last year in the same race I was in, and we both lost in that one. It looks like he's got a degree in Bachelor of Arts from Wazoo, and he has some community experience, service with the historic North Yakima group and various organizations. And so, Tony's not a stranger to our election cycle in Yakima here.
Yeah, you've probably seen his name on the ballot a few, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And he's part of the Democrat Party. So let's see. Let's jump to the next one. Another familiar. Oh, went too far. Another familiar name is Dulce. I'm not even going to try to say the last name. Gutierrez, I think.
Gutierrez, yeah.
There you go. She sat at Yakima City Council, I believe, back in 2015. I believe is when she was elected then, and then she became assistant mayor. It talks about here how she delivered for her neighborhoods by improving community centers, parks, streets, alleyways. She also made an impact on public safety, focusing on youth gang prevention and domestic violence reduction. Other professional experience is legal aid, helping people become citizens, which that's pretty cool. And Washington State Labor Council. I'm not entirely sure what the Labor Council is. You guys know this?
That I do not know for sure.
I don't know.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. She's a Davis graduate, and let's see. She's from she's a UW. So we've had all these cougars, and then now we have UW person here. Oh man,
everybody has their faults,
Yeah. She funded upgrades to Lions Pool, Franklin Pool, Cherry Park, Washington Fruit Community Center, Henry Beauchamp Community Center. She created the Domestic Violence Victims Advocacy Program. In her personal life, Dulce serves on the executive boards of YWCA and OIC of Washington. What I've known about Dulce is she's a hard worker. She even says it down here. She is a hard worker. She, still even at the city to this day, there's a lot of people that, reference Dulce and the hard work she put in. So, let's move on to the last district of the county, which is District 3. Lindsay, what about old Mr. Ladon?
Oh, Ladon, let's see. Running for Commissioner District 3. He's a Yakima County Commissioner from 2020 to present. He's a Director of Medical Staff Office, Compliance Officer, Human Resources for Sunnyside Hospital from 06 to 20. Co-owner business, personal manager of JL Dairy, I think, from 85 to 06. Education, he's a state certified medical interpreter, Spanish, he speaks, has a bachelor's degree from BYU and went to Granger High School. Community service, he's the board of directors and state president, Washington State Dairy Federation, lay leadership in Yakima County, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Truancy Board, Sunnyside School District, he's got a bunch, basketball coach, Miss Sunnyside, Miss Yakima County organizations, and downtown Yakima Rotary. So there you go.
There he is. And he is the incumbent. And last year he ran against Autumn Torres. And because of how the redistricting went, Autumn couldn't actually run against him again this year. So
that was a close race, too. I mean,
it was
80-some votes, I believe. So
66.
66, yeah.
Yeah.
And Matt, the lawsuit, was that Dulce was kind of a part of that? Is that right? Dulce Gutierrez?
Yeah, I think
she led that group.
I think she led the charge with One America and a bunch of other folks that are a part of that group. But yeah, Dulce definitely led the charge, which actually created the District 2 that is where she's running. District 2 was not just the city of Yakima before, and now it is pretty much the city of Yakima and a little bit of Union Gap. So, LaDon Lindy's competitor is Steve Saunders. So, Mark, what do we know about Steve?
Steve, he's got a lot of experience. He's a retired Army Command Sergeant, major veteran, 30 years experience. He's got a whole list of medals and honors that he's won and accomplished. And got a lot of community service with the veterans, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Yakima Warriors, Special Forces, Ranger Associations, Yakima County Emergency Management. And I was just reading his statement, and the first sentence is, "I'm a servant warrior who was planned, trained, and responded to many community services." So I think a lot of elected officials forget, who they're serving, and so it's pretty cool to read something like that.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too because, I think the community service part where it says Yakima Warriors, it's spelled differently on purpose. It's the Yakima tribe, so this guy he's well known in that area, and so it'll be interesting to see how he does. Let's see. I think that's it because I'm not going to go through all these precinct committee officers. I don't know them all, so sorry. Yeah. Well, that's fun. You guys, if you wanted the Audible version of this book, you just got it.
You just
color.
Well, colorful commentary in between there, right?
Yeah. So, I do want to talk about though. If we go quickly. Oh shoot! What the heck happened? There we go. If we go quickly on this, is in each race, I want you guys to tell me. So, who is your pick? Okay,
Ooh.
Right. This is like if you've watched NFL Countdown on Sunday morning, and it's like the Seahawks and Pittsburgh Steelers.
Man.
Who are you picking?
You're blindsiding me. Okay, let's go.
All right.
So,
All right.
Okay, here we go. So Congress, District 4, Lindsay.
Okay, it's been tough because I feel like Culp and Gibson were my two top, just from watching the debates. But I'm gonna kind of go with Sessler just because I think he probably has the best chance. And I watched one of his ads. I know. I watched his ad today where he's walking backwards and saying we're going backwards, and I'm like, yes. So I'm gonna go Sessler. But those other two, I'm open to.
Okay, Mark.
Okay, I think Lauren Culp has the experience and the background of running a race. So I think he might be like a dark horse or underdog in this competition here. Sessler's been doing campaign and setting this up for over a year now. So he's got a lot of stuff in motion. And of course, the incumbent always has the advantage. Okay, I'm buying time here. I'm gonna say Corey.
Oh, another curveball! You didn't even mention Corey.
I'm gonna say I think he's younger than all the rest of them, and I think he's gonna appeal to some more voters. He's a little bit different, so we'll see.
I like him personally the most. I think he's the most personable.
Yeah.
So I first have to say, this is not an endorsement of any of these candidates, okay? So because I'm just going to tell you, I like all of you guys. I think you're all doing a great job. I think other than Dan Newhouse, who never returns my phone calls, but everyone else, even Doug White, who answers emails and responds to me and talks and is very friendly. I will just say that this is not an endorsement of any one of these candidates, okay? Because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings as, my pick. And to be honest with you, this is a very hard one for me because I truly believe that this is a very tight race and we've kind of diluted it on the Republican side with having so many people run. So I'm going to throw a huge curveball. A big one. And it's not because I don't like Corey, and it's not because I don't like Lauren or Brad or Jasek or Jared and Doug or Ben, because I do. But I'm going to have to go with Jasek. I'm going to throw a complete curveball.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. And it's only because the couple things that he said at the last debate, I was floored at how knowledgeable he was on actual things dealing with China. And I think that's one of our huge geopolitical threats that we have going forward. And, I think he would do a great job at figuring that stuff out. Not saying any of those guys wouldn't do that either. My heartstrings say, go for Corey or Jared Sessler. Who's actually got the best shot is probably Lauren Culp. Right.
Well, it's undisputed that he's the warrior. You might remember.
Yeah. People's champion.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. So anyways, and I just threw a complete curveball. So, again, it's not an endorsement. So if Corey, if you're listening, or Brad or Jared, you're like, what the freak, Matt? Blah, blah, blah. It's not an endorsement. I still like all of you guys, and I think you'd all do a great job. All right.
So are we going to revisit this after the election and see how we did?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. So, okay. I'll probably lose this vote.
So what is the winner? I think we should a little.
Yeah. So Mark,
little wager on this, right?
Mark said Lauren. Lindsay said Jared.
I thought he said Gibson.
Oh no, you said Gibson.
Corey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said Lauren's got the experience in doing this. We'll see if he can carry through.
All right. So Gibson, Sessler, and Jasek. I don't think Jasek's got a shot in the dark, but hey, you know what? That's my pick. All right.
Okay.
Let's go to county. But we're not going to talk about these incumbents. All right, clerk, Lindsay.
Well, we got to meet Misha, so obviously I like her most because she came on the podcast. So she's my front runner. Gonna come talk to the people. I'm gonna like you.
I'm gonna second that one too.
Oh man, we got two from Misha.
Well, yeah, just because the experience and the education and stuff. I think she's got this.
Yeah, I too am going to go with Misha. I've only talked to Misha. I did offer to the other candidates at the last Republican board meeting if they wanted to come on the podcast, then feel free to give me a holler, and none of them did. So
there you go.
If you're listening and you're upset that you didn't get to come on, you can still come on. Just give me a call. But Misha did, even though we had horrible technical problems, she did try. And I have met Misha at a couple different things, and she's a go-getter. So coroner, who do you got, Lindsay?
I'm going to go with Jim.
Jim.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mark.
I don't know a lot about him. It just seems right.
Why do we have to vote for a coroner? Anybody know? I'm just curious. I'm curious. Okay. All right. I'm going to go with Marshall.
Oh, changing it up.
Yep.
All right. I'm going with Jim too. So you guys got to mark these down for me so we remember.
Don't worry. I'm keeping track of mine right here.
All right, cool. Let's see. Well, we already know Amanda's got this one. Mm-hmm. District 2. We got 2 Dems and 1 Republican. What do you guys got?
I'm going for Kyle. Obviously, I'm going for Kyle. He also came on the show. I really like the guy.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go with Kyle as well.
Man, 2 Kyles.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to have to go with Kyle as well. I guess. I don't know if I don't even get to vote on this, to be honest with you. I'm not in this district. So I don't really care who wins this race, but I did think Kyle had, he was on the show. I did reach out to Dulce to be on the show. She never responded back to us. So, would have loved to have had you on here. You can still come on after the primary if you want. All right. District 3, the incumbent, Lindy or Saunders? What do you got, Lindsay?
Well, I was just walking down the road on Saturday, and Steve didn't even know who I was, came up to me and he goes, "Hi, I'm Steve." He just met me, and he was like the friendliest guy. I just love meeting him. So Steve, obviously. I'm even calling him Steve, like we're friends now.
Best buds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, how about you?
I have to agree with Lindsay. Steve's a guy.
Yeah. So full disclaimer, I'm running Steve's campaign. So I have to vote for Steve because he's my guy.
Yeah.
But because he'd probably fire me otherwise. But Steve is going to be coming on the show. And LaDon, that's not to bash you at all. If you want to come on the show, please let me know. You're more than welcome. So
need to get on the same show.
Yeah, little debate right on here. Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
it would be fun.
Let's see. That's it. There's no more on there.
That's
all right,
nice.
Man. That was just like that was NFL blitz style right there, guys. All right, I'm gonna stop screen sharing. Now we're all big here again. All right, we're gonna move on. Now that we've fully briefed you on the election, we're gonna try to shorten this last part up a little bit. But so, guys, I have bad news though. So our airport in Yakima, a lot of business owners have been kind of upset because in this fall we're going to one flight a day coming out of Yakima. You guys have probably all got the little flyer from Pasco.
Right.
Kind of rubbing it in our noses.
Yeah.
I kind of want to tell the city manager of Pasco, who lives in Yakima, by the way, why'd you do that, man? You just like rubbed it in my nose that your airport's better than mine. So they're going to one, and it's not because Yakima is not filling those flights. That's the sad part. It's the fact that they don't have pilots.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having a hard pilot problem. But so a lot of folks in the community have been bringing up the idea, business community for one, and Amanda McKinney brought up actually in her interview with the Yakima Herald, is to create a port district. And some people ask, what the heck is a port district? What do you guys know about what a port district is?
that me?
Yeah.
I like to, from what I know, it's going to be, as much as I don't like to add layers of government to stuff, because government really doesn't really do anything efficiently or well. But what the Port Authority or Port District does is create a government agency that has power to collect taxes and do levies, I believe, and all for the purpose of creating an economic environment or developing economic growth in a certain area. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think overall, in a nutshell, that's what that is.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because we in our county right now we have Sunnyside and Grandview, I believe, are actually port districts. And I think the original idea of a port district is to actually help development, right? Mm-hmm. But if you look at Grandview and Sunnyside, when they put their port districts in, it's taken 20 something years, 25, 30 years to actually see full-scale development like they've wanted down there. Now, the other piece of it is it does cost taxpayers more money in taxes, right? So depending on where you live and how they structure the port district, you could be paying up to 45 cents per thousand of your assessed land value more yearly. And that goes directly to the port district. So to my opinion, I ran on a campaign pledge of no new taxes, period. End of story. Don't ask me. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Right. And this is, in my opinion, a terrible time to try to push this thing. Because people where are they hurting right now? In their pocketbooks, right? Gas. Their home value is shot through the roof for other reasons. I was talking to an elderly person who's on a very fixed income, and he's like, dude, if my property tax goes up again like it did last year, I will lose my home. I own it outright, but I will lose it because I cannot afford the property tax. And so I think that's a big piece. The other piece is jurisdiction. So when I was looking up port districts and understanding how they fully function, they would actually act as almost a municipality, like a city of Yakima or a city of Sunnyside. And they would have, by default, I believe it's 3 commissioners. They're called port commissioners that are elected to serve this new municipal corporation called the Port District, which is inside the county, which could be also inside the city. And it starts really convoluting the jurisdictional grounds of what in the world. I was trying to figure out, could a port district have its own police force? City of Yakima does. We're a municipality, right? I have no idea. I couldn't answer that question yesterday. But the one thing is the reason why I think a lot of people want it, right, is to create more revenue so that they could make the airport better. Right? Expand it, bring in more business, bring in bigger flights, all of that stuff. But the reality is that the city of Yakima would have to be on board with that, right? Because we actually own the airport. So it's a weird dynamic. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. What are you guys' thoughts?
I just don't really like the thought of adding any more financially to anybody right now. So it seems like something that we should deal with. Maybe kick the can down the road to when we're in a better time economically. I don't know. It's complex and it could take a long time and it's more money and taxes. It's just something I'll drive to Pasco, I feel like.
The hour and 15 minutes is not that bad.
It's only an hour from Moxie, so.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess that depends a lot, too, on how they define, the boundaries of the port district itself, because it's not, just the entire city, because it can include other infrastructure, railway and roadways and stuff like that. So, and I don't know if they could put in a an exemption for like retirees or something. I know some states, you reach you're 65 and your property taxes don't go up or don't go up as much as anybody else's, and something like that could be put in there. I would, wholeheartedly support that. But I think Yakima has been very stagnant over the last, decade or two, as far as, basic infrastructure developments. Downtown has been very minimal. And I would think if it's done right, I think a port district would help growth, and in turn would hopefully create more jobs, higher paying jobs in Yakima, which would benefit everybody.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. We'll see, how it keeps. I'll keep you guys. We'll keep you guys here on the show informed on what comes of it. I know this week, actually, I believe either one or two of the commissioners were actually visiting different port districts around the state, kind of seeing what works, what didn't work. So I guess we'll kind of wait and see where we're at. Yeah. Let's move on, and we're going to wrap up the show after this bit. So there is a group in town that is running an elected mayor petition for the city of Yakima. And so I'm going to say I'm not going to make a whole bunch of comments on this because I'm a city council member, and it could get me in big trouble with probably the guy that I employ as my city manager. But I do want to say that the elected mayor petition, I just want to clarify what an elected mayor is. So a lot of people, I think you, Lindsay, you were saying, I thought we had an elected mayor. Well, we all think that. Right. So like right now, how City of Yakima is structured is we're a council manager form of government, which means we have a bunch of council members, and then we have hired a city manager who handles all of the day-to-day operations of the city, who is only accountable to the city council, right? And but city council can't hire or fire any of his staff. Like it's really just him, right? Or her, whoever it is. And so an elected mayor, because we're like, well, Yakima has a mayor. You're right, we do. But it's just the council basically voted and said, so in this room right now, right? So we have Matt, we have Mark, and we have Lindsay, and we could say, all right, Lindsay, you're going to be the person who runs the meeting. Lindsay, you're the mayor. That's what you're going to do. That's basically what Yakima has right now. That's all the mayor does, is run the meetings on Tuesday nights at City Hall and does some ceremonial stuff throughout town. And so when people hear elected mayor, the other side of the aisle, the Democrat side, the left side, like to say, well, that's going to take representation away from the people. Well, if you have an elected mayor, it actually restores representation, because now all of the city departments actually respond to someone who's elected to serve that position. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, a lot of it's over my head because I do feel like I don't understand what happened to the mayor we already have. Is this like a whole new thing? Is our mayor gone? Is this just in addition to the mayor we have? It's very complicated to me.
It's I guess I'm very strongly opinionated about it, and the reason why is right now, with the current form of a city manager that we have in Yakima, there, as a citizen, individual voter, I have no say in this person's job. In other words, if they're doing something terribly wrong or bad for Yakima or something I don't like, there's no way for me to voice my opinion where it counts. I can't vote this person out. I can't vote an alternative person in that I would like to see represent Yakima. So basically, our city manager right now only has to answer to the city council. And so only has to make 4 people happy on what he's doing for his job or what he's not doing for his job. And, and I guess another point I have to make is, does anybody know our mayor's or city manager's name? What has he done for Yakima in the last year or two? I think he's been in term for 2 years now, going on 3. I'm not sure, but it's a position that I don't see the city manager feeling obligated to do what's best for Yakima, especially because a lot of the city managers we've had have been picked from cities from hundreds or even thousands of miles away from Yakima and just brought in to manage the city of Yakima. And I think having somebody that's removed from Yakima, we're losing out on some potential experiences and knowledge of our valley that would benefit Yakima as a whole in running the city. And if that person screws up, they're held directly responsible by the voters. And I think that's something that we've given up by doing the city manager method that we have.
Well, and to be clear too, it wouldn't get rid of council members. Right. So there'd still be.
No. Yeah, exactly. You want to keep that because the city, the district council people that, that's your representation of your neighborhood or your district. And whereas the city, the mayor does, encompasses the entire city. So.
Yeah. So it's interesting because it actually gives you more representation. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you more power. It gives you more control. It gives you a chance to voice your opinion on how somebody's doing their job or not doing their job. Right now, you don't have that. And in my district, as far as city council, I can vote for a city council person, but I have no direct say in the city manager.
Right. So, needless to say, Mark, they can find those petitions where? Right down at your shop, right?
Well, we happen to have a couple of them right there. So, and if you need a pen, I got one for you there too. So,
yeah. So if this mayor petition works out, you go down to Mak Daddies Coffee Roasters, which is down where, Mark? Where is it at?
28 North 1st Street.
Yeah. Check them out. Sign your name away. Put that on there. Get a coffee.
I think the petition is just to get that measure on the ballot. It's not making,
correct.
Yeah, it's just giving the people of Yakima the opportunity to vote on that option. Right. So vote. Sign that petition doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it means it gives the ballot on the measure on the ballot.
Yeah, Mark, the way Mark you talked about it, that really helped. I think that makes a lot more sense. And also, I'd like to say that you guys have wonderful coffee.
I'm
very opinionated about that. So,
thanks.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up because we've been going for a long time now. So I'm going to mention our partners, and we just mentioned Mak Daddies Coffee Roasters because we have Mark here, but he is one of our show sponsors as well. So he's kind of double dabble in it today. Mark, thank you again for sponsoring the show. We couldn't do this without your help.
Thanks for having me on. It was my pleasure. And I'll keep track of our picks for the primary.
Yeah, I think you probably have more winning picks than I do on some of those. So, but go down and get a coffee over at Mark's place and tell him that, we sent you. And, I'm waiting to hear from Mark how many people actually go down and get coffee and say that. Probably not many, but hey, hopefully some.
It doesn't take a lot to get on the ballot this election. I think it's only about 2,300 signatures. Not a whole lot.
Yeah. The other partner we have is Center for Self-Governance. They don't actually pay us to talk about anything with them, but it's really just if you're looking to try to figure out how to get involved and learn how to be politically motivated and knowing what you're doing and not wasting your time, go take their classes. It's not a waste of time. It actually really teaches you what you need to know to be politically involved and being. involved to a point of where you're not wasting your time. I hate wasting people's time. So, all right. And how do you support the show? You can find us on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/accurate perspective, there's a bunch of tiers on there. I had a few people actually comment. There is a tier where you can actually go out to lunch with the team. Are you kidding me? So we can take Matt Brown out to lunch. And I said, it's not just Matt Brown. It's also Lindsay. It's also Dave Mullen. Maybe he doesn't show up as much. So, maybe we'll take Mark instead.
There you go. I'll be nice. I promise.
Right. And, but there is a tier on there that is that. But there's also a bunch of others. Anything that you guys can do helps support the show with advertising, blogs, all of the fun stuff that we've been trying to bring you guys. And if you can't do that, follow us on Facebook, find us on Anchor, Apple, Google, Spotify. Leave us a review. Hopefully it's a good review, not a bad review. If it's a bad review, just email me instead.
Right.
But leave us some good reviews. But find us on there, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. And yeah, I think that's about it, guys. You got anything else to say for the good of the order?
No, I am good. I just want to say thanks again. It was a blast.
Yeah. Well, in the next episode, I will say we're going to have Jim Walsh on. He's coming remotely into here, just like all of us. But we're going to talk. We're going to talk about schools in Washington State, and Jim's going to help us unpack a lot of things that have been going on at the legislature, and a lot of things that have been impacting parents all across our state, and also in Yakima, and what you can do. Also, Lindsay reminded me, thank you, Lindsay, because, I don't want to get in trouble with anybody out there. These are just my views. So anything you see on this show or online, this is my disclaimer to all those listening, is that this is my view in my position at Yakima City Council District 6, not the entire city of Yakima and not the whole council. So if you don't like what I had to say today, I'm sorry. That's it. It's just all I got to say. So I'm sorry. But it is my disclaimer. This is not the opinion of the majority of the council. So I have to say that for all sorts of fun legal reasons. But anyways, you guys have a great day. Enjoy the hot summer. It's finally here. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye.